Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question right out of the gate. Have you ever noticed that problems never ask for permission to enter your life? They don't knock on the door politely. They barge right in, sometimes in your finances, sometimes in your health, sometimes in your relationships. But here's the truth. The size of the problem is never the issue. The issue is where you put your focus. Because if you keep focusing on the problem gets bigger. But if you focus on the solution gets brighter. Have you ever stopped to think that the very problem you are facing right now might actually be the key to your promotion? Most people look at problems as interruptions, inconveniences, or even punishments. But the truth is this: every problem is a signal that you have untapped potential waiting to be revealed. If you didn't have the ability to rise above it, the problem would have passed you by. The fact that it landed at your doorstep is proof that you're carrying a level of greatness you may not have even recognized yet. The biggest mistake people make is believing problems mean something is wrong with them. They think, if I was smarter, I wouldn't be in this mess. If I was stronger, I wouldn't feel this pressure. But let me turn that perspective around. The pressure is not there to crush you, it's there to call something out of you. Diamonds are created under pressure, and so are destinies. If life was always smooth, if nothing ever challenged you, you never have a reason to grow, to stretch, to innovate, or to discover what you're truly capable of. Think about it. History only remembers people who solve problems. No one remembers the person who just sat around pointing at the problem. The people who became leaders, innovators, and world changers were the ones who stepped up, stared the problem in the face, and said, "You are not here to stop me. You are here to reveal me." Thomas Edison solved the problem of light. The Wright brothers solved the problem of flight. Every entrepreneur, every leader, every inventor you've ever admired was really just a problem solver who believed their potential was bigger than their challenge. Now here's the hook. What if your problem is not the punishment you think it is, but the platform you've been waiting for? What if the very thing you're trying to pray away is the thing designed to elevate you? That shift changes everything. You no longer waste time asking, "Oh, why me?" Instead, you start declaring, "Oh, why not me? If I've got the problem, I must also carry the potential for the solution." That mindset transforms fear into fuel and obstacles into opportunities. Your problems are not indicators of weakness. They are invitations to strength. They are the universe's way of saying, it's time to level up. And here's the powerful truth. You don't grow in comfort zones, you grow in challenge zones. Every challenge is a test, and every test is designed to qualify you for a testimony. When you face the problem, don't shrink back. Lean in, because leaning into the problem is how you lean into your purpose. So the next time you're tempted to curse the problem, pause and consider this. Maybe it's not a curse at all, maybe it's a calling. Problems are proof of potential. And if you hold that truth in your heart, no problem will ever intimidate you again. It will only remind you that greatness is demanding to be released. When you truly understand the power of focus, your entire perspective on life begins to shift. Focus is not just about where you place your attention, it's about what you choose to magnify. And here's the undeniable truth. What you magnify will multiply. If you pour your energy into the problem, you're giving it permission to grow larger, to take up more space in your mind, and to drain your spirit. But if you pour that same energy into the solution, you begin to see possibilities expand, doors open, and new strategies emerge that were invisible before. Think of your mind as fertile soil. Whatever you plant will take root and grow, whether it's weeds or fruit. If you plant worry, fear, and doubt by constantly magnifying the problem, your mind becomes a breeding ground for paralysis. You replay the issue over and over until it becomes a mountain too big to move. But if you plant ideas, hope, and determination by magnifying solutions, suddenly the soil produces growth, resilience, and breakthroughs. The soil doesn't care what you plant. It will multiply what you give it. That's why your focus is everything. Here's the hook. Most people think their problem is their biggest enemy, but in reality, their focus is. A small problem magnified by unhealthy focus becomes a massive obstacle. Yet a massive problem magnified by solution-driven focus becomes a stepping stone. The issue was never the problem. It was always the lens through which you viewed it. Change the lens, and you change the outcome. We all know people who can find problems in every opportunity. You give them a brilliant idea. and they'll tell you all the reasons it won't. That's because they magnify the problem until it blinds them to possibility. But winners, leaders, visionaries, they see opportunity in every problem. They magnify what could go right, not what could go wrong. That's why their ideas grow, their influence expands, and their impact multiplies. They understand that their focus doesn't just predict their future, it creates it. Magnifying solutions also expands your creativity. When your energy is locked on the problem, your brain shuts down. Stress narrows your vision and limits your imagination. But the moment you redirect your focus to solutions, your brain shifts into problem-solving mode. You start to generate ideas, tap into resources you overlooked, and see opportunities where others only see dead ends. The human mind was created to thrive when it's solution-focused. So ask yourself, what are you magnifying right now? Are you rehearsing the problem, replaying it so much that it feels bigger than it really is? Or are you rehearsing the possibility, enlarging the solution until it feels inevitable? What you magnify will always multiply, and the choice is yours. You can magnify defeat and multiply discouragement, or you can magnify hope and multiply strength. You can magnify fear and multiply hesitation, or magnify faith and multiply courage. At the end of the day, focus is the steering wheel of your destiny. Where you look is where you go, and what you magnify is what you multiply. If you can master your focus, you can master your future. Problems may show up, but solutions will grow up if you choose to magnify them. The quality of your life is directly connected to the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Most people remain trapped not because their problems are impossible, but because they keep asking the wrong questions. Questions shape focus, and focus shapes destiny. If you ask small, fearful questions, you will get small, fearful answers. If you ask bold, solution-driven questions, you'll unlock bold, solution-driven breakthroughs. The secret is not just in what happens to you, but in what you ask when it happens. Here's the hook. The questions you ask are either building a bridge to your breakthrough or building a wall around your limitation. When something goes wrong, most people ask a why me, and every time you ask a why me, your brain starts collecting evidence to confirm your weakness, your misfortune, or your inadequacy. It points to your failures, it digs up your insecurities, and it rehearses your disappointments. That question doesn't move you forward, it keeps you stuck. But shift the question to what does this make possible? And suddenly, the problem transforms. Instead of being a dead end, it becomes a doorway. That single question activates your creativity, your faith, and your potential. Every great leader, innovator, or achiever you've ever admired was not just someone with intelligence or talent. They were someone who asked powerful questions in the face of challenge. When others asked, why can't it be done? They asked, what would it look like if it was possible? When others asked, what if I fail? They asked, what if I succeed? The direction of their questions determine the direction of their result. Your brain is like a search engine. It will always look for the answer to the question you type in. If you type in fear-based questions, you'll get fear-based answers. If you type in solution-based questions, you'll get solution-based answers. Based answers. That's why it's critical to guard the kind of questions you allow to sit in your mind. You can't expect empowering results from disempowering questions. Think about the questions that dominate your thoughts right now. Are they questions that chain you to the problem or questions that challenge you to find the solution? Instead of asking, what if it doesn't work? Start asking, what steps can I take to make it work? Instead of asking, how much is this going to cost me? Start asking, what value will this create for me? Every time you elevate the quality of your questions, you elevate the quality of your possibilities. And here's the powerful part. Questions not only unlock answers, they unlock identity. When you ask, who do I need to become to solve this problem? You are no longer just chasing solutions, you are stepping into transformation. Problems are temporary, but the person you become in the process of solving them is permanent. Well, it's permanent. That's why the right questions are more valuable than quick answers. So let me challenge you right now. The next time a problem stares you down, don't shrink back and ask, oh, why is this happening to me? Instead, lean in, ask, what does this make possible? What can I learn, and how can I use this to grow? Because the moment you ask the right question, the answer begins to appear. And when you master your questions, you master your future. Behind every problem you face is a hidden treasure, a reward waiting to be uncovered. Most people never find it because they are too busy running from the problem instead of mining it for profit. The reality is, the world doesn't pay you for pointing out what's wrong. It pays you for creating what's right. If you want to increase your value in life, in business, or in relationships, stop obsessing over the size of the problem and start mastering the skill of uncovering the profit it contains. Problems are the wrapping paper, solutions are the gift inside. Here's the hook. Every breakthrough you admire in others was born from a problem they decided to solve. The most successful entrepreneurs didn't just chase money. They chased problems and turned them into opportunities. Think about it. Uber solved the problem of inconvenient transportation. Amazon solved the problem of limited shopping access. Every company that dominates the marketplace today is really just a solution to a widespread problem. And the people who became wealthy, influential, or impactful were the ones who didn't run from the problem, they ran toward it. Now bring this truth closer to home. Every time you solve a problem in your life, you gain something: wisdom, strength, experience, confidence. The bigger the problem you solve, the greater the reward. You may not see it right away, but solving problems builds you into the kind of person who can carry more responsibility, handle more resources, and lead at a higher level. That's why you can't despise problems. They are the gym equipment of your destiny. You can't build muscle without resistance, and you can't build greatness without challenges. The difference between people who rise and those who remain stuck is how they view problems. Complainers see problems as obstacles. Leaders see problems as opportunities. Complainers get paralyzed by problems while leaders get paid for solving them. The moment you begin to see a problem as a hidden profit center, everything changes. You no longer say, "This is happening to me." You start saying, "This is happening for me." That single shift moves you from victim to victor. Ask yourself right now, what problems exist in your environment that you've been avoiding? Could that very problem hold the key to your next promotion, your next business idea, or your next level of personal growth? The people who get rewarded the most are not the ones who run from problems, but the ones who become valuable enough to solve them. If you make yourself indispensable in the face of challenges, opportunities will chase you down. And here's the deeper truth. Problems don't just produce external profit, they produce internal profit. They build patience, resilience, and discipline. They sharpen your decision-making. They teach you how to innovate under pressure. That internal profit is even more valuable than the external reward because it cannot be taken away from you. Once you become a problem solver, you carry that ability into every area of your life. So the next time a problem shows up, don't curse it, don't fear it, and don't ignore it. Dig into it, because it may be the very thing that positions you for your next season of success. Problems carry hidden profit, but only for those bold enough to seek it. When you shift your focus from the weight of the problem to the light of the solution, something powerful happens inside of you. Problems have a way of shutting down creativity. They drain energy, they cloud judgment, and they make the future look smaller than it really is. But the moment you make the intentional decision to focus on solutions, you activate creativity and faith. It's like flipping on a switch in a dark room. Suddenly, what looked impossible becomes visible. Here's the hook. The same mind that panics over the problem can also produce the solution, but it cannot do both at the same time. Fear and creativity cannot share the same space. Worry locks doors while faith opens them. That's why focusing on solutions doesn't just solve the problem. It transforms you into a creator instead of a complainer. The instant you say, "There has to be a way," your mind starts working to prove you right. Creativity is not reserved for artists, musicians, or inventors. Creativity is the ability to see beyond what is and imagine what could be. Every person is born with this gift, but only those who feed it with solution-driven thinking ever experience full potential. When you focus on the problem, your creativity lies dormant. When you focus on the solution, creativity flows like a river. Ideas surface that you didn't know you had. Strategies appear that you couldn't see before. And more often than not, those ideas become the very breakthroughs that take your life or business to the next level. Faith works the same way. Problems are magnets for fear, but solutions are magnets for faith. Faith doesn't deny the existence of the problem. It simply refuses to bow to it. to it. Faith declares, this is temporary, and the solution is inevitable. When you operate with that mindset, you begin to see obstacles as opportunities in disguise. The more you practice this, the more confident you become in your ability to navigate challenges. And that confidence creates momentum, which fuels even greater creativity and even deeper faith. Think about some of the greatest innovations in history. They were born out of impossible problems. When others said it couldn't be done, someone chose to focus on the possibility. The Wright brothers didn't look at gravity as a permanent barrier. They saw it as a problem waiting for a solution. Their faith in flight pulled out a level of creativity that changed the world. That same principle applies to you. Your problem might not be airplanes or electricity, but it is the seedbed of innovation in your life. When you practice focusing on solutions, you train your mind to rise above limitations. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop shrinking back and start stretching forward. And with every solution you create, your faith grows stronger. That combination, creativity and faith, is unstoppable. It not only gets you through the problem at hand, but equips you with the mindset to face the next challenge with boldness. So when the problem shows up, don't waste your energy magnifying it. Direct that energy into solutions. Let your creativity wake up. Let your faith rise. Because when you activate creativity and faith, you don't just solve problems, you build a future that once seemed impossible. The true mark of leadership is not how loudly someone complains about problems, but how consistently they create solutions. Followers see problems and stop. Leaders see problems and start. Followers magnify the obstacles. Leaders magnify the opportunities. This is why leaders rise while others remain stuck. Their mindset lives in the solution zone. They train themselves to look beyond what is wrong and focus on what can be made right. Here's the hook. If you want to know whether someone is a leader, don't listen to what they say in good times, watch what they do in hard times. Problems reveal leaders. When pressure comes, the follower crumbles, but the leader becomes sharper, stronger, and more determined. It's not that leaders don't see the problem, it's that they refuse to stay there. They discipline their thoughts to search for answers, to create strategies, and to inspire others to move forward. This doesn't just apply to CEOs or politicians. Leadership is influence, and everyone influences someone. In your home, in your business, in your community, your ability to live in the solution zone determines the level of impact you carry. When others panic, your calmness brings direction. When others complain, your vision brings clarity. When others see a dead end, you see a doorway. That's what makes people follow you. They are drawn to your solutions, not your struggles. Living in the solution zone also changes the way you handle setbacks. Followers interpret setbacks as signs to quit. Leaders interpret setbacks as signals to adjust. They don't take failure personally. They take it as feedback. That mindset allows them to keep moving forward when others give up. Every leader who has ever left a mark on the world did so by standing in front of problems that seemed unsolvable and daring to believe a solution existed. They chose to lead when it was easier to retreat. The solution zone is also contagious. When you live there, you give permission for others to step into it as well. Your team, your family, your peers, they begin to mirror your mindset. Instead of dwelling on problems, they begin looking for answers. Instead of waiting for someone else to fix things, they take responsibility. One leader living in the solution zone can shift the culture of an entire group. And let's be clear, leaders don't have all the answers. They simply have the courage to search for them. They don't allow fear, doubt, or uncertainty to dictate their actions. They move anyway, knowing that solutions reveal themselves to those who seek them with determination. That's why leaders are rewarded more, respected more, and remembered more. They live in the space where solutions are born, and because of that, they create impact that outlives them. So the challenge is simple. Will you be a follower who magnifies problems, or will you be a leader who magnifies solutions? Because the world doesn't rise on complaints. It rises on creativity. It doesn't move forward through excuses. It moves forward through execution. And the moment you choose to discipline your focus towards solutions, you step into leadership, not just in title, but in action. That is where true influence begins.